Go.
Oh, good morning, guys. My name is Jeremy. We're here at the Rush Academy in Covent Garden. I'm one of the educators here, where I train in cutting and coloring, and I'm here today to show you one of the creative collection in terms of cutting on it. I've got my beautiful model, Vanilla, here today. I'm going to explain to you a little bit what I've been doing. I prepped the hairs a little bit beforehand in terms of sectioning on it. So first I use a little bit of this control in terms of product, and that helped me to create a little bit cleaner section personally. I worked with a thin section, working from the recession to just slightly below the crown and finishing to a point. And I basically work with 3 sections through the top. So if we look at the top, we got that section, we go from here to here. We're going to be around the crown, and I work with a small rectangle and another even smaller rectangle from the front as well. Okay? And through the back, I basically isolated 2 sections through the back where I'm going to retain a little bit of length through the side. I wanted to do something quite creative, quite playful as well today. That's why I decided to leave a bit of length as well so she can really play with it. Okay? So I'm going to start through the middle. I'm going to work first with a vertical graduation for hair. I'm not going to go too short because the density of the hair is relatively quite fine on it. So I don't want anything that's going to be too crop and a bit too tight. Okay? So I'm going to work from there in the middle, and then I'm going to over direct very slightly to the previous section, just to build up a little bit of length through the side as well. So I'm going to start that, and I'm going to explain to you what I'm doing.
So you're going to work. Hi guys, just say I'm here today as well. Any questions you've got for Jeremy, pop them in the box. I can get them to you, and hopefully Jeremy can ask you as quick as possible. This is meant to be an interactive experience, so you know you're kind of part of the crowd. Obviously that's the way Facebook Live works. You're part of the process, if you like. Any questions, we'll get them straight back to you. So Jeremy, you're going to be working a square shape through the back? So you're just going to be over-directing your hair?
Yes, I'm going to work with a square shape. I'm just going to over-direct to your previous section first. So I'm going to work first vertically, starting from the middle, working my section relatively clean.
I've got a question here from Shelley. How do you determine what sections to take for this shape?
I mean, for me, the way I work, you know, I look at the shape first, what we got with the length. I decide in terms of where do I want to keep my length on it, yeah? And just working, I find when I work with triangle section, it works really well on a head shape on it. You can literally put a couple of triangles on it, and it will always work really well.
It seeps that way into it, doesn't it? It makes
exactly.
that point seeps into the shape afterwards. Beautiful. Now I've got Lucia saying hello from Berlin. They're watching from Berlin, so we've got people from Germany. Morning, how are you doing?
So working straight out. Into the nape area. Done, thank you. So we're working with a shorter point in the nape.
Perfect. Brilliant. So you're working at a very loose angle there, isn't it?
Yeah,
it's nice and
loose
soft.
angle.
It's really nice and soft,
Just
isn't
to
it?
get a little bit of a bevel, I would say.
Yeah.
Visualize the shape. That's something that I always tend to do. Visualize my first section, because sometimes if you might need a bit shorter, you can always go over. You know, instead of really like working your next section, and then you realize it's a bit too heavy. So now I'm going to have that. So that way I've got a guide on both sides, and I'm going to work slightly diagonally. And section 2 is going to go to section 1. 3 to 2, 4 to 3, 5 to 4. Okay?
One comment here. I love the colour, guys. What toner did you use?
So we pre-lighten the roots first, And then she already has something slightly pinky for the end. So we pre-lighten the roots first. Then we use what we call PO2 from Lure. We use L'Oreal color. PO2 is something that's going to be able to lift a bit some of the bleach on it. It's kind of a pre-tone and add a slight iridescent reflect to it. And then we tone it again with colorful hair.
Sure.
With what we use, I use conditioner with a little bit of purple and a dot of red.
It's really nice. It's a really beautiful colour actually. I love that. I love the tone on it. It's kind of got this really nice violet tone.
Yeah, I mean, Vanilla is, you know, she's quite an easy model, I would say. She's part of a band. She likes her hair to be quite creative, I would say. You know, so it really allowed me to do more or less what I want, which is great, you know.
And we're joined by the guys from India as well. Yes, nice colour. They love the colour.
Hello, India.
Yeah, man.
We're going there in a few weeks, is that right?
Yes, that's right. I believe we are. We've got Chris and
Ashley, is that right?
Ashley, yes. I think it's Chris and Ashley.
It's Chris and Ashley. Yeah, we're going to be in India. Things are doing a tour.
Amazing. Ashley's one of the new members of our artistic team. Actually, he's going to be going over. It's going to be fantastically. He's a fantastic cutter, and he's going to be joined with Chris Williams, our international colour director. So it'd be good. They're just going to go and do a bit of education.
Same again, section 3 here, over directing. To my section 2. Yeah, so in terms of colour, I had this idea recently. We had this designer, you know, there was a London Fashion Week back in February this year. And there's a brand called Shrimp. Oh, it's a bit of a funny name, I don't know if you've heard about it. Shrimps. I think her name is Hannah Welland, I think, the designer. And she had this idea where all the girls were wearing this kind of a big faux fur jacket. It was relatively quite colourful. We had this bright blue, bright pink, and she had a lot of motif as well, like things like heart, rose on it. Yeah. And it's kind of like really playful, you know? And this
very street, wasn't it?
Yeah,
very street.
There's some sort of playful but innocent as well. The girl were wearing quite short hair, quite crop. There's a little bit of a round fringe, you know, and I quite like that. So that's where really I get my idea from a bit from today. But trying to make it my own way.
That shape's looking really good though. As it's kind of laid down, you're combing it down, you can really see the hug with the shape. It's really working beautifully. I think that you've placed that weight perfectly on the O-bone there. So I think when you dry that off, you're really going to see that. I think that's gorgeous.
I think, you know, it's very important of looking at the density of your client's hair really. You know, it doesn't have to go anything too short personally. Sometimes it can make it a bit too harsh, you know. Yeah. I like to have a little bit of length, a little bit of texture to it, you know.
So you're cross-checking the shape?
Cross-checking, I'm going the opposite way.
Just to see, that's beautiful. Really clean work, Jeremy.
Thank you.
I think that's key. I think, you know, is it important to you to work really cleanly?
Yeah, exactly, because it kind of, it just helped me, you know. I know exactly where I'm going. I know who I'm following, you know, and I think that's key. Personally, I'm not someone who like to, you know, take big section, that section, and go back into it. And I think you get a little bit lost sometimes, and you actually spend more time, you know, whether you're doing salon work or stage work. Obviously, today I'm taking a bit of my time because I'm here to explain to you guys what I'm doing. If I was going to do that in the salon, probably move a little bit faster. But the fact that I'm working really clean, I'm prepping the hair as well with list control, will help me to have a really neat section. It just make my life a bit easier.
For me, when I always explain this as well, I think when you take it larger sections, you're creating unwanted over direction, aren't you?
Yeah.
You know, so you're not in control of your shape as much as you are when your sections are small. Because of the way you're working, you can see it's coming out and you're directing it from the root exactly where it wants to be, rather than any drift, unwanted drift. So you're in control of your shape.
Yeah, definitely. I think it's a good point talking about the direction, because when you think, guys, if I was going to take that section and then I'm take the whole section here, naturally this hair is going to be traveling up to there. So which means it's going to give me a triangle shape.
So you're getting unwanted, you're not getting that control you need.
Yeah.
100%.
So now when I'm working to the right side, I'm working with my fingers down. Fingers are pointing down.
So why would you do that?
It allows me to have a little bit more control again.
Sure.
I personally find that if I work this way, naturally I tend to go shorter.
Sure, 100%.
You know, something to do with your body position. And I think it's personally quite awkward.
Yeah.
You're very close, you get very close to your client. But when I worked down, I can literally take a step back a bit. And I find with cutting, you can't be too close. It's quite different than color, because I do both, guys. And when I color hair, I actually work relatively close. You know, when I work a tint or a freehand technique. But with hair cutting, it's very different. I think you need to take a step back, visualize the shape, you know? Same again, come at section 3. Comb it once, comb it twice, right from the roots.
So what do you do day to day in the academy, like, Jeremy? What is kind of your day in the life of Jeremy?
I do a bit of everything, to be honest. So we got obviously we got courses, we got cutting courses, coloring courses, styling as well. So my main role here is to do the cutting and coloring courses. And we do a couple of demo to it, and we do workshop as well with some of our students as well.
So when would you see this sort of work? I mean, see this sort of work on 2 of our courses, actually, if you were looking to come and be inspired and do, you know, a bit of disconnection work that Jeremy's demonstrating today. You might find this on an inspiration course. Now, an inspiration course basically covers everything to do with our session work, everything to do with our cutting and colouring, creative. So it really is for stylists that, you know, are quite experienced, that just want to come and be inspired, you know, learn a little bit about how we do the session, learn about how we, you know, work our imagery for photos, how we work our creative cuts and colours from our collections, and we combine that on a 5-day course. We've just recently extended some course dates because we have become very, very busy on this course, actually. The new course dates are the 25th and the 29th of June that are available at the moment. So we've got spaces available on this course. And this course, like I say, covers everything from our concepts, from our cutting and colouring, through to some of our editorial dress outs. And it really is a fun-packed, exciting 5 days. You'd also get this on cutting hair the Rush way, because what we try and do there is we take everything from our classic cutting to our contemporary hairdressing, right the way through to some advanced creative. So it kind of gives you a little bit of a dynamics on the way Rush cut hair, everything from our fundamentals right the way through to our advanced. And that's a 3-day cutting course. And one of our course dates are the 19th to the 18th of May. This is a new course day available as well. Some of you were talking a little bit about the colour that was worked. Now this is obviously run by our international colour director, Chris Williams. He heads up our colour department. Colour Rush extra dates have been booked from the 17th and the 19th of April. So those dates are all available. If anyone's got any questions or they're interested in talking about booking on the course, please contact us on rush.co.uk or Rush Academy. And our academy manager, principal now, is, or director, he likes to be called that, is Mr. Adam Bryan. You'll be speaking to Adam and contacting him. Okay, so you've done the back area now. I can see those triangles have been disconnected just behind you, haven't they?
Yeah. I'm basically going to just disconnect a little bit of some of these lengths on it, but I want some sort of connection for here. So what I'm going to do now, I'm actually going to over-direct everything back to that section where I just end up, and I'm going to leave a little bit of outline as well. So I'm literally going to connect for this area, and just once I get to the curve of the head, I'm just going to leave that, drop it away a little bit, just completely freely really. I mean, you could plait the underneath, but I'm just going to work with a little bit of filling, I think. It's just something that I quite like sometimes.
Well, I think it's the way you're working, the way you're describing that you're working actually, is the way that you're working vertically and you're kind of working very visually, aren't you? In the way that, you know, you're kind of deciding what you're going to leave out, rather than isolating the area first. Now, do you get more of a softer blend this way?
I do get something a little bit softer on it. Sometimes I find when you plait the hair away, you can get a little bit of a, not a line, but you know, you can get a little bit of weight for hair.
It's quite solid, isn't it?
Yeah, it's quite solid. So I think for me, as much as I'm really strong in terms of my foundation, in terms of technique, you know, I do like to work as well a little bit visually sometimes as well, you know.
Sure.
If you can combine visually and technical, I think that's how you're going to create the best shape, you know. So same again, I'm over directing everything back to the same point.
So now the guidelines become stationary.
Yeah.
Now.
So I'm not moving, I'm standing in the same place.
You are following a previous guideline. You're dropping away where you dropped away last time.
Yeah.
You do get a slightly, like we say guys, you get a slightly softer blend when you do it this way.
I don't want to drop it too low, because like I said, it has really.
You need that base, don't you, for the bottom?
You need a little bit of strength.
Hello, Karen.
Hello, Karen.
Good morning.
Thank you for watching us, by the way, guys.
Yeah.
You know, it's great. I really hope that you enjoy it today.
Morning, Craig. How you doing? Craig Lee Patterson saying hi from Manchester.
Hello.
How are you doing? Working really cleanly there, Jeremy's working beautifully. The shape is working fantastically. You can really see that here. The silhouette's beautiful. I think that's what, the one thing about cutting hair for me is, you know, when I look at the shape, it's the outline, it's the silhouette that's so important. How it frames and head hugs and how it suits the face shape. I think, to be honest with you, it's so important. Back to the old, you know, in the 80s, teaching people about shampoo sets, talking about the outline of the shape. I think that has so much relevance to cutting hair as well.
I think, yeah, shape is a big part of it, you know. For me, I always try to, even if I work very creatively, I always try to make my shape relatively, you know, obviously sexy, you know. I think it's important.
Well, you're French, aren't you? Well, you're French, it's got to be sexy. It's got to be sexy. That's beautiful.
So you can start to see the shape now. So I'm going to work exactly the same way for the other side. I'm going to wet it down a bit. So this work, you know, when it's wet, it's just really going to help you.
You guys can see that, guys. Obviously, you can see he's left a lot of his detail to do later on, which I believe he'll be doing in his refining stage.
Yeah.
You know, what we educate here when we cut hair is you put your basic shape in, and then you saw Jeremy cross-check his shape, make sure it was strong, the foundation was really there. And then right at the end, I believe that you'll be refining it.
Yeah, I refine it personally. I tend to refine it when it's
when the hair's dry. Let me just come on the other side.
Yeah, sorry.
Sorry, mate. Come on the other side for you. That's better. Much better.
Yeah, I tend to really find it when it's dry. I think it's a lot easier, so you can see how everything is actually sitting, you know, how the shape work and where do you need to remove weight and all little detail to personalize your haircut, which is very important, you know. We are all different, we're all, you know, kind of artists on it and different feeling. Whatever you feel, it works for you. Trying as well, when I work, try to always have the same amount of section on each side, and that's going to help you to keep the balance in the shape. So if I'm working with 4 sections on the left side, I'm going to work with 4 sections on the right side as well.
Really looking forward to seeing the final shape. Been so excited to see. So excited to see a feminine mullet. Yeah, I think that's right. I think he's. One thing I will notice about what Jeremy's doing is the lengths he's picking are very intelligent, as far as I can see. He's not going too short. He's not going too aggressive. Everything's kind of blending really beautifully. I think we've only done the back, but he's married these lengths very, very well so far, and I think that is creating that really nice femininity. Thank you. Stephen Jardine says,
hello, Stephen.
Beautiful work, Jeremy.
Thank you, Stephen.
Gorgeous. You can really see that shape now coming in. It's beautiful, actually. He's now cross-checking the shape.
Both sides.
Looking beautiful. Right. Ace work, Jezza, coming from Annalise Hawkins.
Thank you, Annalise.
Morning. Morning. Hello. Big shout out.
Okay, so now I'm going to work from my left side. Yeah.
So I'm just going to come around, Jeremy. Is that all right?
Yeah, of course.
Just going to come around the other way. This is good.
So the way I'm going to work that, I'm actually going to start from the front, and I'm going to work kind of a slightly uniform layer, I would say, like something quite rounded to it. That's going to help me to create a little bit of shorter, you know, area through there, and leave a little bit of outline as well.
You're going to work over your fingers?
Over my fingers,
so yeah. You're going to layer the hair out through the sides.
We're going to layer the hair. Yeah.
Very nice.
Just to leave a little bit of
keeping it looser. Keeping it looser.
Yeah, I'm not personally a fan when the back is long and we're going really short through the side. You know, I want to keep a little bit of length, a little bit of filling to it.
This is the system.
So I'm going to tilt the head to the side just because it's going to help me in terms of my body position. Yeah? I always find when you work this way, it can be a little bit difficult. So stand at the back, tilt it really slightly to the side, and we're going to take that corner off. Same again, nothing too short. Lifting. Fingers parallel to my section. Just to create a little bit of softness. I'm going to use my previous section. I'm not going to actually over direct. I'm just going to travel.
So is your body position important here, Jeremy?
Yeah, I think body position is key. Oh, for me, I think the key thing is to feel comfortable with your body position. If it doesn't feel comfortable, it's probably because you are not using or you're not standing in the right place. And sometimes it can actually start to change the shape. You know, you want to create a certain type of shape. And
I think when I always discuss, I think you need to feel open.
Yeah.
You're not too closed off.
Definitely.
Always, your body position needs to always be open, very comfortable. And I think it's important when doing clients, because when you're doing clients' hair, you need to look comfortable. You need to look like you're in real control when you're doing people's hair.
Yeah.
Because that gives confidence to clients. Would you agree on that?
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, I do work in the salon still, guys. So, you know, I'm not just
How often do you
just
do
an
it?
educator.
How often do you actually work in the salon?
I would say probably once a week to once every 2 weeks, something like that.
Okay.
But I think for me it's important, you know, to work in a salon, because it helps me to understand you guys, you know, when you come into courses and you actually work in the salon yourself. And let's face it, you know, if you come to courses because you want to be able to, obviously creatively, you want to get something from it, but you want something to bring back to your salon as well. Can I bring back this technique in a salon? You know, and I think that's the key thing with education here at Rush, really. So the fact that I work, you know, in a salon, it just helped me to understand. So going back to the body position, you know, totally agree with what you're saying. You know, if you are comfortable with your body position, you know, client's going to see it to show a lot of confidence, you know,
100%.
when you work. And we do know that clients these days, you know, if they've never been to a salon, the first thing they're going to do is they're going to check, you know, inside, you know.
Sure.
Yeah, they stand outside the window and have a look, you know, so.
How everyone looks, how comfortable everyone is.
Yeah,
I think
exactly.
how clean everyone's working.
Yeah.
I think that's the key. I think when clients are looking in from the outside, or whenever you're educating, I think it's very important to have that head map, have that structure, have that journey, and how clean you are as you're going through. Because, you know, nothing's more professional. You know, you don't want to see a bricklayer, you know, with messy, you know, slopping all down the walls. Everything should look clean. So therefore, it's methodical, and you're always going to get a much stronger base. Beautiful section. And really nice shape, actually. I think that length, those lengths you picked are really quite intelligent there, Jeremy. Well done.
Thank you. You taught me.
Well, no, you know, I think educate. Yes, we help
Yeah.
each other with our foundations and so on and so forth. But I think, you know, decisions later on, it really comes down to the hairdresser.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, there's you need to have, like I say, a bit of feeling to it as well. You know, where you're going to leave the length and things like that. So I'm working to the back. And same again, I'm going to leave that outline just so it blend in with the length that we kept just behind the ears. Just a few more sections there.
So is there any over direction you're using here?
No, I'm not actually. No, I'm just
Working on the base.
working on a base, yeah. I don't want anything too heavy.
Now you're coming into your long area here. Allowing some of that drop away.
Yeah, I'm just allowing it to have some sort of, I would say it's not technically connected with the bag, but it's got some sort of visual connection to it.
Good morning, Ashley.
Good morning, Ashley. Is it
Very
Ashley
nice to
Haynes?
see you. Yeah, he's always there. He's a loyal person, that Ashley. We're talking about you a little bit earlier, actually. Are you going to India?
We only say nice things.
Yeah, it's very nice.
Great, so I'm going to work in a similar manner for the front here. Wet it down a bit. Work with diagonal section again. Keep my section clean. And same again, fingers parallel to your section, elevating. Oops, sorry.
Oops. Oopsie daisy. That was...
Check the balance with the other side. Good. Happy with it. And I'm going to move further. So again, keep your section clean, follow your guy through.
Do you feel the balance before you move through on that first?
Yeah, I mean, I did check the length for the front, because when you work from one side to the other, it's a little bit tricky because you don't have that guide, you know. So
sure. You need to obviously, follow.
You have to follow.
That's very nice. Did you cut Vanilla's hair last time?
I did, probably, I think it was probably 2 months ago. She used to have quite a long mullet, and went a little bit shorter with the length for the back. Where I personally think that, you know, it's a little bit more in at the moment.
A bit more modern.
A bit more modern. Yeah, it's a little bit shorter. I think we've been seeing the mullet quite a lot the last probably 2-3 years, you know. And
I think it adjusts in length, though, don't you?
Yeah.
Sometimes it's really long. And but now I think it's much more current to have that kind of a little bit more, I call it like the mini mullet, or the baby mullet, or whatever you want to call it. Baby mullet's a bit funny, isn't it? But, you know, having that micro mullet, I think it's just that little bit cooler.
I mean, like anything, you know, any haircuts, you cut some sort of evolution, you know, for the haircuts, really.
That's nice. I like this softness you're leaving. I think it's really cool. Just got a little bit of hair. There we go. Okay. Just try to get right in there.
Same again, dropping a little bit of this outline as you get to just behind the ears to master it.
Yes.
I'm going to have one more section.
Really nice.
Do a little bit of cross-checking. Same for the other side. Okay, cool. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to dry actually all the ends underneath, and then I will refine a little bit of my outline and work through the top. Okay.
So it's important now to dry the panel off.
Yeah, definitely. I think it's a lot easier to be able to refine the underneath, you know, because the section on top is still there, so I don't have the top basically dropping over it, you know.
Sure.
It's just some again.
And actually, what's cleaner,
more
isn't
control.
it? Cleaner.
Yeah. Just going to use lemon brush.
Hello, Vivi. Very nice. Thank you. We're using a lemon brush. You want to dry the hair off to natural fall?
To natural fall. I think I just left the shape of my graduation to sit, you know, the way I want it to sit, really. Don't want to use a round brush here, otherwise it's going to start fade a little bit too much personally. And you can have some sort of unwanted volume to it.
Looking really good though. You can start to see that head hug into the shape now. Beautiful. I'm starting to visualise the shape myself. And speaking to some people say I get quite excited.
Working with that brush and get a bit of shine to it. Obviously you've got quite textured hair because the hair has been pre-lightened. It's just like to create a bit of heat to it, get a bit more shine to your hair.
Yeah, I think it's a lovely shape already.
Thank you.
It's developing too nicely, you can see that, really loose. So am I right in thinking that you're going to disconnect the top, Jeremy?
Yeah, I am disconnect a little bit the top. I'm going to go for this quite a short fringe actually. So you're going to have quite a bit of different length to the top, quite texture as well. Something a little bit more messy to the top, I would say. Just to create a bit of an edge to it.
A bit more texture.
Yeah. My round brush from here, just so I get a little bit more tension. Working the same way to the other side. Use my flat brush first.
This would be something that we would be demonstrating, as I'll repeat on some of our cutting hair the rush way. This would be kind of going into more day 2, day 3 of the course. Where we start to introduce this connection and we work a little bit more with the idea of contemporising our classics, making our classics that little bit more edgy if you like. Day 1 we kind of cover our pure rush, which is basically more of our kind of purer techniques, our graduations, our layering, our one lengths and how we do that. And then day 2 we start to disconnect the hair a little bit, and day 3 then you might see this on a demo where we show you some of our more collectional ideas. This haircut stems from our latest collection, Tomboy. Now Tomboy was the whole idea of working the idea of blurring the lines of gender. So you can see what Jeremy's done here is really quite what works with shorter and longer lengths. round and square shapes within the haircut. So it really kind of blurs the line of the genders. But the whole idea is that in the end, the haircut's very, very beautifully aesthetic. Are you freshly bleached this morning? Is it freshly bleached?
Yeah, we done it freshly bleached, and after we just put a bit of a toner to it.
Really nice. Pastel. Wow, amazing. Love the colour. The shape's going to be really cool.
Great, so now I'm going to work by refining my nape area a bit, okay? So I'm going to work with something, a bit of a curve line, just to create a bit of softness to it. So I'm going to start with my left side, starting from the middle and working with the tip of my scissors.
You're not going to go right the way through to that length, or you're just going to let that drop
No,
away?
yeah, just drop it away.
Yeah, that shape is looking stunning from there.
Same again, I'm not going anything too short for here. Just working with the tip. It's very kind of visual, I would say, when you work.
Allows that line to sit flat to the head, though, doesn't it, as well? It's beautiful.
I'm going to work the same thing for the other side. I'm going to work the other way around now. And kind of visualize.
Thank you, Rosie. Wow, you guys do the best haircuts. Thank you.
Thank you very much,
very much for the
Rosie.
lovely comment. Very nice of you to say so. He's a very talented young man, this one. He's a regular at our academy, works here throughout the week, educating everything from Vardering, which is our initial, when you join Rush, you come and learn the Rush way and educate the way we like things, you know, to help you do it our way, and share our philosophies. He's one of our Vardering experts, and he works on courses with us, teaching cutting hair the Rush way, and inspirations, Rush inspirations as well.
Yeah, the Vardering is a great...
Hi, from Israel. Hey, Aviv, how you
Hello.
doing? Good to hear from you, my man.
Yeah, the Vardering is great, you know, it's really basically train people for 9 days before they go into a Rush salon, really. And just teaching them all the foundation, you know, of everything. Working in terms of cutting with a graduation of one length layer, just as they go better understanding of how we work really and what's our philosophy, and explaining a bit the strength of movement as well, which is a big part of what we do. Great, now I'm going to refine a little bit the interior. Just very slightly. I don't want to remove too much weight, just for the edge.
You can see, you really see our cleanness of your lines there though, Jeremy. So all you're doing is kind of just making sure those lines kind of taper in.
Taper in a little bit, so I think when the top kind of drop, you know, I think it will sit a bit better as well.
Beautiful.
The key thing is when you texture, you know, when you create so much strength with your technique, you don't want to go too deep. Because if you're going too deep, you're going to start to kind of shatter, I would say, the shape that you've been creating. So I'm just really working on this ends, just to remove a tiny bit of weight. Like I say, her hair is quite textured, so I don't have to go
nice.
Too much. Really.
It just gives that little bit of, it just softens the line, doesn't it? It just tapers it in. So you're only really working on that top, the top of your shape, aren't you, underneath?
Yeah.
Just allow it to feed in, making sure it's not. I can see that. You can see exactly what he's doing. The line is never lost, because that line is really kind of holding the form, making sure that the shape has structure. But it's just about creating that little bit of movement internally, just so it seeps as it seeps down. So when the top comes down, everything feeds in really well. See those areas of disconnection, they're going to work really well for movement. I like that.
So now I'm going to work through the top.
So then we've got a small triangle around the crown here.
Yeah, so I'm going to work with that triangle just on top of the crown for here. Can I have a look at the length that we got? I'm probably going to work relatively square actually. Yeah, I'm going to work square, just elevate it. Cut around an inch for the crown. Really square. So my body position stays static. I'm just standing on one side. Take vertical section. And we're going to do section 2 to section 1. The reason why I'm slightly over directing it because the head shape is round. That allows me to keep my shape a little bit more square. Oops, sorry.
Okay,
I went to kick the camera.
Like a rock star. Beautiful. So just keeping this area nice and square, maintaining the corners. So the top on this area will be slightly falling over the underneath shape.
Yeah, very slightly. And you can wear it back, you can wear it forward, depending on how you want to style it really.
You're thinking about styling this quite textured at the end?
Yes, I am, yeah.
So
I think it would go really well with the colour and
sure. Yeah, I think it's going to create quite a nice story, isn't it?
I have to use quite a bit of a finishing product, you know, and that. So again, I'm going to cross-check my work. to the opposite way. So we're sitting slowly over. Right.
I'll just come around here and just have a look at that. Aviv, how many years for you to reach this level has it taken you? I mean, let's give me a little bit of a background on you, Jeremy. How long have you worked for Rush now?
I think it's been 12 years.
12 years.
So it's quite a while. Yeah.
You've been hairdressing, I mean, how long have
I've
you
been hairdressing for 14 years.
14 years hairdresser?
Yeah, 14 years hairdressing, you know, obviously with qualification and everything. As you can probably hear it, I'm originally from France, where I've done my training, kind of like my NVQ, I would say, you know,
Sure.
which is a qualification, similar qualification, I would say. And basically, I came to UK, you know, and I was in UK for 2 years, and after I started to work for Rush, working as a stylist. I used to be in one of the salons, and from there I knew I wanted to go into education, you know. I trained myself with yourself, Andy.
Yeah.
You know, obviously you taught me, you know,
worked together
a lot. We worked
yeah.
together a bit, you know. Same with Chris, who's a colorist. I worked with him as well. And from that, I went into education. I started training the NVQ side of education, which I think is great if you want to go into education.
You're doing the fringe now?
Yeah.
I'm going to come around the other side, sorry.
Which I think is great to start to train with the NVQ guys, you know, the youngster, because it gives you a bit of confidence. And I did that for around 2 years, and from then, after I moved to our academy, and now I'm working with.
Jeremy's on our a creative program. He got promoted to what we call our workshop team, which is a group. It's like you could call it a young creative team or an assistant art team or whatever. But this is a program basically on promise to get onto a creative team, where we educate, we help them, kind of help them develop their skills, if you like.
Yeah.
And Jeremy's part of the cutting team in that department. He's a very, very talented young man. You're getting a lot of nice comments about your work here anyway, which is good. So now you're working on the fringe.
I'm working on the fringe, and I want something quite short and quite layered. So I'm actually working from her left side, working square, and I'm slightly over-directing to your previous section, just to leave a little bit more weight as I'm going to her right side, across the right-hand side. And after we probably dry it, frame it, and after we work through the top. I personally find it easier because if I cut the top first, then it's going to hang over. It's going to be a little bit tricky to go back underneath. So that's why I'm starting from the front.
So you're going to layer it. Are you going to put a line in it afterwards?
Yes, I am. Yeah, going to put a little bit of a line, but it's not going to be too. Too clean, the line. I want something a little bit messy, quite a breaking line. And you see, I'm just over-directing to my previous.
Nice. That leaves you that little square on the top afterwards, doesn't it?
Yeah. We should make it a lot easier fun.
Will you dry these two areas off before you do the top panel, or will
Yes.
you work it all of it first?
I'm gonna dry that actually.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm gonna leave that for now. But I'm gonna dry that just so it doesn't. Because if I leave it, then cut that, then it's gonna hang over, and I just want to see how it falls from the underneath.
Sure.
It's my last section. Let's see if you reach.
Beautiful. This colour's looking great, actually. I love these.
Great. So I'm going to dry this area now.
So now you can see, guys, we cut triangle at the back and the fringe area. We've got this area sectioned away at the top. quite obvious areas of disconnection. I think it's extremely important to understand the way Jeremy's texturing the hair off is the only way you can work this way. You can't work, oh yeah, we'll just cut the fringe or we'll leave it, you know. It has to be done in a very methodical way, doesn't it?
Yeah, you have to think a little bit about it, really.
It's how you head that. Yeah. And this is what we educate here, is having a structured plan for when you cut hair. So everything you do has got kind of, it's all, you know what the end result's going to be before you start cutting.
Right, so now I'm going to work through the fringe. We'll put a line in first.
You're actually going to cut that a little bit shorter.
Yeah, I'm actually going to go relatively short.
So working very freehand, not using any tension.
No, at all. No, I think when the fringe is that short, and because it's been layered quite a lot through there, obviously it's not too much thickness, so I can really go with one quite freely, slightly rounded. Now I'm going to slightly kind of shatter a little bit the length for the edge, break it in a bit. I don't want anything too heavy. Sorry for the hair, Vanilla.
All good.
Just breaks that line up just a little bit, doesn't it?
Just a little bit, yeah. Just to make it a little bit softer.
So you're working with suitability here, aren't you? I mean, that's kind of at the end of the day, I think what you're doing is you're kind of looking at a face shape here and thinking about exactly what's going to look good when you dress it.
Yeah.
And when she does it herself. That really, actually, that length is really quite suitable for her.
I think because I'm going with something quite textured for the top.
Yeah, that's nice. That's looking lovely. You can see what happens when he puts his fingers in it. When it starts and the hair starts to move around a bit, you can start to see the texture, which I think he's thinking about playing. Is that right?
Yeah, definitely. But you know, like I said when it started, I really want something quite playful, and you know that's why I want a bit of texture. I want her to be able to make it quite messy as well. You know, when she's
and that texture you're getting is amazing.
When she's on stage.
She's on stage, live on stage.
Like, she's a singer, isn't it?
I know she is.
She's a singer in a band, so she like her hair a bit man. Okay, great. So now I'm going to work through the top here.
This is the area that sits just behind the crown. Are you thinking about leaving it longer, or are you thinking?
I'm going to leave it a bit longer, but what I'm going to be doing, because I started with the French, I over-directed to the previous, going from left to the right, so you leave a little bit more weight for this arm. We can clearly see that the layer for here is a bit longer than there. I'm actually going to work the other way around here. So I'm going to take the guide from the back, and I'm going to pivot.
So you get a little bit of length.
So that way you get a little bit of length going this way as well.
Very nice.
Yeah?
So it's just going to create that, I call this technical texture.
Yeah.
So you're going to still use line, but you're using disconnection to create the separation.
Create the separation, yeah.
Amazing. I think that's really cool. Well, Ben Brown's watching. Hello, Ben. How are you, mate?
Working square.
So now you're gonna
Half
pivot.
it, and we're gonna pivot.
Start to turn your sections. Beautiful.
Lifting, working nice and square. Same again, half a section. And pivoting to the other corner. To keep my section as clean as I can.
Beautiful.
Following my guide through, working to the other side.
You're keeping a relative amount of length on that.
Yes, I do, yeah. I think if it's too short, you're not going to have much...
Do you know what I like? Do you know what I like
Yeah.
about this at the moment? These shapes, and it's, you know, I've seen you work them a couple of times in the weeks and stuff. You're taking these mullets and you're closing them down. Or you're making them a little bit more of a micro mullet,
Yeah,
and you're leaving that little bit of length on the top as well. So you're kind of bringing the lengths closer together all round, aren't you?
yeah, I think
Which I
there's
think
more...
gives a really nice texture, doesn't it? It's really cool. So now you pivoted right the way across. So you used a radial panel, haven't you?
Yeah.
So it's taking the
So
length
it's-
shorter from the left through to the right hand side. Amazing.
Yeah, so that way it's going to help you to
Sorry.
create a bit of more,
Yeah,
more
start,
length for the
start
left
to see the
side.
shape. It's all starting to come together now a little bit, Jeremy, actually. You know when you dry that top and everything, it's going to start to really piece together a little bit. So how important is head mapping to you? Let's reiterate that.
Yeah.
How important is it for you to work that way?
I mean, for me, it just helped me as a hairdresser because it helped me to know exactly where I'm going. You know, I never start a haircut without having a plan in my head.
Yeah.
I think if you don't have a plan, you know, you're going to start to be very confusing. It's going to take you a longer to do it. You're going to lose a bit of your confidence, you know, and whether you're inside or on stage, you know, you want to look and feel really confident with it, you know. So I've got everything in my head already, you know. When she came this morning, you know, I had a chat, you know.
Just turn right the way around because I want to see,
bit of a
the
plan,
shapes. It's
yeah.
amazing.
Just have a bit of a plan of how I wanted the hair to look, what sort of texture I wanted to create, and where I wanted the length to go. Even if I haven't dried completely, yeah, we can start to see a bit of that shape going through as well. Okay, great.
Very nice.
Now I'm going to dry it. I'm going to use a little bit more Liss Control for the top.
So you're going back to Liss Control, which is, we are a L'Oreal brand here at Rush. So Liss Control is a moisture control cream. We use it a lot when we cut hair, so we apply it before we cut hair. This helps us with our sections and make sure that you're always in control of your shape. Each section's, you know, clean, defined. So we always use product when we're cutting shorter hair. And then we kind of just add a little bit more, is that right? Is that what you do? Just add a little bit more, just to give a bit more?
Yeah, just add a little bit more for the top, really. Just because, like I said, her hair is quite obviously bleached and everything, so it's a little bit porous on it. So it's just going to help me to blow dry, you know, to get a bit that shine for it, without making the hair too heavy.
Sure.
I think if I use something like a serum or something like that, it would be a little bit too much, I think, personally, on her hair. So I'm just using a very small amount of Liss Control.
I must say, I love that little bit that you dropped in here, that, you know, this disconnection over
Yeah.
the fringe. I think that's going to work so well when you dress it. It's nice, really nice. Bonjour from Morpeth in Northumberland. Amazing, and see you've given a textured fringe onto, and not jumped up, making it heavy so it flows. Yes, 100%, it's worked really well.
Back with my denim brush, and push the roll to one side. Lifting these roots to get a little bit of height to the top. And working same way to the other side.
Hi Ravi, you're very well, thank you. Thanks for tuning in. Texture's really working there, man. This is something we were working on for Tom Boy, something we're playing with technical texture, but we're disconnecting the internal panels, separating lengths to create movement internally. And obviously when you start to apply the product at the end, you start to see that real mix of texture working through the shape. You've got great hair to work with as well. Wow, look at that. Beautiful. Really nice. So for those of you who've just joined us, what we've been doing here, we're working on a micro mullet. This is Vanilla, and along cutting is Jeremy Roca, one of our workshop team members here at the Academy, and Rush. We started the technique. Do you want to reiterate what you've done? You've gone through it, it'll be much easier if you do it actually.
Yeah, so I started with a thin section. So a thin section is big, like a triangle, but we're going from the recession to slightly above the parietal ridge, and we end up just below the crown into a point.
Yeah.
And I basically section, kind of like three sections inside the thin section. So we go a small rectangle for the front, which is basically for a fringe area. We go another rectangle for the middle, which is slightly larger, and after we go a section for the crown. And I isolated two sections for the back. Well, left isolated some of the length for the corner just behind the ears, and then basically work from the middle, working with a vertical graduation first.
Yeah.
And I over-directed to my previous section just to build up a little bit of weight. And once I get to the area just behind the ears, I work exactly the similar way, but by over-directing a little bit more. So everything was be more stationary and bring back to the line, but I actually left the outline, so that way it helped me to keep a little bit more length to be able to play with.
If you guys like it, please let us know. I mean, I think the shape looks absolutely fantastic, and it's something Jeremy's been playing around with at Academy a little bit. So we're taking these mullet shapes and working them a little bit more micro. I love that term, micro mullet. So it's not so heavily distributed at the back, and it's kind of bringing the shape a little bit more together. And what Jeremy's done is quite clever here. You've got these three areas on the top. While he's drawing, I'll just reiterate. A rectangle here, which is slightly longer, which is dropping over the fringe area. And then a beautiful triangle on the crown, which is just sitting over the back area. Now all these areas have been slightly disconnected. As you can see, this is working with disconnection where it's working with two types of disconnection which we use at the Academy. One being a limited disconnection. Now limited disconnection means the disconnection isn't very visible, it looks blended inside the shape. And you can see these two areas is worked off behind the ears, which is our unlimited disconnection, which is basically put there for really fashion conscious, to make it really fashion conscious. So when he dresses it, it keeps that little micro mullet appearing to the hair. Now Vanilla is an artist. She works in the music industry, she sings for a living. So she likes it, her hair to be quite fashion forward and conscious. And that's what really suits her. It's fantastic so far. Really cool. You're getting quite a nice shine on the hair now, Jeremy.
Yeah, I'm working a little bit about one brush just to create a little bit more shine, really. Smooth descents. We're just working with the shape, really.
Wow, lovely. I'm going to get you in that way. There you go. Brilliant. Got it. This control sometimes, but a mind of its own as well. It's brilliant. Hello, Chris. How are you, my man? Good? Hope you enjoyed it so far. That's looking fantastic now. You can really start to see that shape develop. Beautiful work, Jeremy. I just think this detail here is just so interesting. This area.
I think it worked really well, the fact that it's kind of crossed over,
It's interesting. Sometimes the most subtlest of disconnections just give you that little bit of freedom internally. What do you blow dry the pixie haircut? Why do we blow dry? Really, why do we blow dry it? We blow dry it really to, obviously now Jeremy's got to refine the hair. So by drying the hair off now, he's allowing him to work dry. We do like to create a nice shine on the hair and create quite an expensive finish. So he's drying it to just give that little bit, but what he hasn't done is it hasn't blow dried out of position. I hope you can see that. He's blow dried it purely so he can refine, and so he gets a beautiful texture on the hair. I hope that answers your question. Trishna.
Yeah, I think it's mainly to do with the shine,
Shine is very important, isn't it?
It's
having that expensive look.
I think depending on the type of hair as well, Trishna, I think on her hair, obviously, because, it's been bleached, it's been toned as well, naturally her hair is a little bit porous, and I think if I was going to leave it just natural, it won't show me as much shine, really. It's my mini trimmers.
So it's coming on.
Yeah, of course. Sorry. Just working on the outline, just so it's a little bit cleaner. Working with the corner of the tweakers, trimmers. Same again, just working through the crown, a little bit of point cutting. And just refine, really. I think it's really important to personalize it, you know. Obviously, we work through a certain pattern, you know, in terms of technique.
Just come around here, Jeremy. Sorry, mate. Just come around the other side there for you. Oh, wow. That looks amazing. That looks brilliant. Do you know what I like? It's these subtle disconnections you've placed in there. It's, look at that, just behind you can see it's just created that beautiful movement.
Yeah, I think it's about combining, you know, as much as we got some really, like you say, unlimited disconnection through the back, but at the same time there's a soft disconnection through the front.
Hello from Jamaica.
Hello.
Hello. Hello, Sandra. Just for those of you who join us, I just want to relift. Great, Jeremy's doing the micro mallet today. So he's taking the hair. He's, you know, we're working at the moment, we're just working on the idea of closing the lengths together a little bit more. Pushing the mullet to a little bit closer together, leaving a little bit more length and texture through the top. Closing down some of the areas through the back. Thank you. Graham said it looks amazing. Thank you, Trisha. That's very nice of you to say so as well. Nice work. You can see now what's happening to the shape, really closing in beautifully.
Right, so I'm going to use a bit of styling product. I'm going to use Beach Wave, actually.
So Beach Waves what? What is Beach Waves?
I mean, technically, it's kind of a sea salt spray, I would say, but it allowed me to create quite a bit of texture to the hair. And I found it worked really, really well. It's got a lovely smell as well, by the way. Not that you can smell it from where you are, guys, but I do think that it works really well when you want something quite texture.
Anne Coleman said something really cool here. I think she said, I wasn't sure when you started what it was going to look like, but I absolutely love the result. Right. To be honest with you, I think it's just the way that Jeremy's worked. He's worked with a very strong structure, the way he's planned his shape. Head mapped it off so he knows exactly where the weight's going to go. He knows exactly what the result's going to be at the end. And it's purely by the way he's worked. Getting a lot of comments on the colour. Everyone's loving the colour. I think now you've dried it up, you can really see it. It's really pastel. It's beautiful. Beautiful colour. What is the colour? So can we reiterate what the colour was, please?
Yeah, so her hair was already got a bit of a tone of a slightly pinky, obviously faded. Because she had it done something like 2 months ago. So we pre-lightened the roots area with a bleach basically and 20 vol. And after, in terms of toner, we use a PO2 at first, just kind of a pre-tone. PO2 is a color for L'Oreal. It helps to lift 1 to 2 level your bleach and at the same time give you a bit of a tone to it. And then after that we work with colorful hair. I use purple, I use a dot of red with it, and I put a lot of conditioner as well to create a more pinky feel to it as well.
It's really nice, very cool, very current, very, very current. I'm just going to come round and just, just show you the whole shape as he's working. Fabulous, you're getting, very nice.
Don't be scared to really touch the hair when you style it, you know. It doesn't have to be, I think with this type of haircut, it doesn't have to be perfect.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like obviously,
well, you've cut that technical texture in, haven't you?
Exactly.
That's what you're doing, that's what you're going for.
Technique, obviously, you have to be really clean, you know, but I think in terms of styling, just whatever you feel, whatever works for you.
I love it. I think the balance is absolutely fantastic there. It really is bringing it together. I think she carries it amazingly as well.
Just back on side with my finger, just have a bit of feeling through this end.
Very cool. Very cool.
Great, fantastic. So
I'm going to stand up now.
Stand it up, and I'm going to just recap a little bit. We're going to take the gun off as well.
So let me just come back here.
Alright, so just to recap, so I work with a thin section, starting from the resection to just below the crown into a triangle. I work then through the underneath first. I basically isolated two sections just behind the ears, and I work with a graduation starting vertically. I didn't go too short because the hair was quite fine, so I just wanted to leave a little bit of weight, and I work diagonally by over-directed to the previous section for a couple of sections. And once I get to the area where it was slightly more elongated, the length, I'm started to over-direct everything back to the line. Okay, so there's some sort of connection, but then I completely dropped the outline on it, which allowed me to keep a bit of this length. Then we work from the side. I work by layering, stand through the back, working with kind of a uniform round layering and no over direction, everything completely straight out, which allow me to leave a little bit of length just over the ears. And after we work through the top, I work through the crown area, nice and square, 90 degrees through the top, and we work through the fringe area. I work vertical section, over direct to the previous, which allow me to keep a little bit more length, more weight through the side. I then put a line in and just kind of shatter the line a bit, just to create something a bit more edgy. And then through the top, I had another section, like a rectangle through here, and I work square again, but while I start doing it, but pivoting the section across, which allow me to get a shorter panel through there, with something a bit longer through that corner, which is quite cool. It helps you to crisscross a bit your layering technique. All right?
Thank you, Jeremy.
Thank you. Hope you like it.
Thank you, guys.